The Maple Leafs head into the All-Star break on a low after a tough loss to Boston. Hey everyone, Rob Wong joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs beat writer Terry Koshan. And Terry, the Leafs dropping their final game before the All-Star game, 5-2 to the Bruins. Many people wondering now if that game showed some weaknesses that the Leafs still have. If they want to get to where they want to go, they're obviously going to have to go through the Bruins as currently constructed. Can they do it?
Not as currently constructed. And that's not a knock against the Leafs, Rob. It's just that the Bruins are so good. They're so much better than every other team in the National Hockey League. The Leafs have done a lot of good things this year. They've come through injuries on the blue line. Their goaltending has probably been better than many of us expected. Well, it has been. Their top players have been their top players. They've been excellent for the most part. But the Bruins are just a better team, period. And, you know, whether Kyle Dubas is able to add before the March 3rd trade deadline, we'll see. Whether that makes a difference, if you end up playing the Bruins in the playoffs, I'm not convinced of that right now. So, you know, the game last night, no Austin Matthews for the Leafs, a rare off night for Ilya Samsonov. Fact of the matter is, when the Bruins push came to shove in the third, the Bruins were the better team, more determination, and they won handily. So, again, it's not to take away from anything the Leafs have done this year, Rob. Good season so far. I like what they've done, but the Bruins are just that much better.
So the question is, what do the Leafs need to do and Kyle Dubas before the trade deadline in order to even things up?
Well, if you're looking to try to even things up, I think the priority has to be a top six forward. That would allow the Leafs to move a guy like Calle Yarncroke down to the third line where it gives them more depth there. And, Alex Kerfoot as well. He's playing up right now with Matthews out. Do you add to the blue line? Do you add some physical tenacity to the blue line, perhaps, because the Leafs don't have that element right now? And we're not expecting Jake Muzzin to come back and provide that. But, again, even if you're adding those parts, you're adding a top six, Rob. You know that something has to go out the door. So the Leafs aren't, Kyle Dubas won't be able to do this without making an impact, I would think, of some sort on the lineup right now. Again, like I've said, though, the bottom line is the Bruins are the Bruins. And if you're general manager Don Sweeney in Boston, you look at your group and say, well, how can I improve what's already the best team in the league? I mean, and if he goes out and does that put the Leafs and other teams like Carolina, New Jersey in the East that much further behind? That's possible as well. So I think there's room for Kyle Dubas to do something. Will it matter in the end? We won't know until the spring, but I'm not convinced of it.
And finally, as you said, the Leafs have had a pretty good season, third most points in the NHL at the All-Star break. What would be your letter grade at the unofficial first half of the season?
My letter grade for the Leafs is an A. Like I said earlier, from goaltending on out, goaltending's been good. They had injuries significant to Morgan Riley and TJ Brody on the blue line, and of course they don't have Jake Muzzin at all. They got through them. And the forward group has been the forward group. Not only have the top players and the top players, Rob, but the Leafs have the depth as well, and they've gotten it all done. But lots for Leafs to be happy about. Never mind what happened against the Bruins on Wednesday night through the first half, if you will, first 52 games. But again, the bigger challenges await, and whether those they're able to get past them, I think is the biggest question.
Well, lots to figure out the rest of the season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. For all of Terry's Maple Leafs coverage, you can find his work at the Toronto Sun.